It is indeed a great honor to introduce Dr. Nordan. I just met him some time back, and high altitudes. My high altitude is only the total. So, but you know what high altitude he is in because his hemoglobin is 22. So I asked him, if I come there, what will happen? He told me, we are very good. We treat all mountain sickness. So another thing he told me is defreezing from minus 15 degrees. So if you want to freeze, you can go there now. Dr. Nordan, he told me that his talk won't be too academic. He's going to talk about all his experiences there in a beautiful place. So I hope I'm sure I will enjoy it. I don't know if the academicians will be disappointed. He's an accomplished ENT surgeon with an amazing track record, primary education in Lambden Model School, Nubra, secondary education, Sainik School, J&K, MBBS from Christian Medical College, post-graduation in ENT from the Institute of Postgraduate Graduation Medical Education Research Center, Kolkata. He served as an assistant surgeon and he's got a lot of experience in Disket Nubra, ENT surgeon, Institute of Postgraduation Medical Education and Research, ENT consultant, Mahabhat Karuna Charitable Hospital, director cum co-founder of Himalayan Women Health Project, executive director, Ladakh Ecological Development Group, founder member, Ladakh Adventure and Mountaineering Club. So we have an almost complete person, very interesting. And there were other things. He's got a district award for outstanding voluntary service in Nubra Valley, Vijay Kumar Medal for the best sportsman of the year. I think I'm taking up all your time. Himalayan Hero Award for social work, environment cause, and UT Ladakh State Award for contribution and social reforms. A complete doctor, I think, and we are very happy to listen to him. Over to Dr. Nordan.
Well, I purposely kept this picture on my first slide. Just 2 days ago, I was there in minus 20. So today I'm here standing before you, sweating, you know. So if you find me disoriented or, you know, time and again referring to my note or sweating, please understand that I'm just defreezing. So good evening and warm greeting from rather very cold Ladakh. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Anand Zekarai and his organizing team for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to interact with young physicians, medical researchers, and I can see many of my teachers sitting here, and various other dignitaries present in person and online. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. I'm honored and privileged. So I have always been reluctant to speak about my work or my journey because I certainly feel that the work which I have done so far is not something extraordinary, but I feel that it's my duty as a doctor to serve my community. And I also hold the conviction that our current positions and our current roles and our personal developments are outcomes of the society which has shaped in us. So society plays a significant role in our lives. So there comes a point in our life when we have to return it back to society or pay it back to the society. As Winston Churchill once wisely said, and I quote, "We make living by what we get and we make life by what we give." Let me also tell you right at the beginning that I'm not a scholar, I'm not an expert. In fact, you will see that most of my talk it's about stories, you know. And so I'm just an ordinary doctor. striving to bring a small change at a time in my own community. Although my journey as a doctor is a bit deviated from the conventional route because I do not work for any organization. I do not work in any hospital. This is where I work. I work in high pasture lands, around the bonfire, in the field, in the houses. That's why people often refer to me as nomadic doctor. So without much further ado, I would like to take you all to the place where I work, Nubra Valley. So just like the Kanyakumari is the southernmost region of Indian subcontinent, my valley, Nubra Valley, which is located at the top of our country. You can see out there. We are sandwiched between Pakistan on the western side, China on the eastern side. The famous Siachen Glacier, the world highest battlefield, supposed to be, which is located in my valley. And we have around 40 villages with a population of 25,000. And majority of my people, they follow Tibetan Buddhism tradition, and with 5 villages which belongs to Balti ethnicity, and they follow Shia Muslim. These 5 villages were part of Pakistan before 1971 Indo-Pak War. So in 71, Indian Army captured those villages, and after that, it became part of our country and part of my valley. So we have one community health center serving to entire Nubra Valley, which is located in the Diskit. That's the place where it is located. And the nearest hospital, nearest village to this community health center is the Hunda, which is 7 kilometers away. That is where I was born and brought up. And the farthest villages at either ends, it is like they are around 80 to 90 kilometers away from this community health center. So, and the nearest referral tertiary care setup is based in Laytown. I hope many of you have been to Ladakh. So it's not that far. It's just 125 kilometers away. And so what happens when somebody gets sick in my valley? Do my people prefer to go to hospital? The answer is no. When someone is not well, the first point of contact is not the doctor. My people prefer to go to the local healers, local traditional healers. We have many traditional healers, like the first one to come is oracles, then monk, then astrologer, and then we have Tibetan medicine doctor as well. Now, if you get sick, so first person we meet is the oracle. So oracles are more like a guide. They will tell you what to do, whom to meet, whom to consult. So now, if you are not familiar with oracle system, I'm quite sure many of you must have watched the famous Telugu movie where a demigod is depicted by a person called Kantara. Remember that? So oracles in my place is just like Kantara. The only difference is my Kantara dress up is different. My Kantara, our Kantara, looks like this. And they behave in the same manner as it has been depicted in that movie. So oracle will tell you whether you will be healed by his blessing, or you need to go to a doctor, or you need to go to other people, or maybe you may have to perform a rituals or puja to get well. As a child, I still vividly remember that my father used to take me to the oracles, and believe me, it's never a pleasant moment because they are very scary. Yeah. So the question is, why do my people prefer to consult oracles or other traditional healer instead of doctor? For a few reasons. Especially, number one is that the medical centers are not easily accessible. The one which I showed, the community health center. And finding a doctor in that hospital is a matter of luck, because most of the doctors, they don't prefer to stay there. They like to stay in town. And second reason is that the faith in traditional healer is strongly rooted in the mind of people, because they have been seeking, my people have been seeking their help for millennia. And the third thing is that the traditional healers are invariably present at every village level. So, these are the reason why my people still prefer to consult Oracle. Now, this is not about my value only. And you can find this kind of traditional healers in the whole of our country, and especially in all rural areas. So the nearest hospital, which I was mentioning earlier, which is just 125 kilometers. But the challenge is that in between that hospital, the referral center, the district hospital, and the community health center, which I showed, there's a huge mountain. We have to cross over that mountain, and there's a road goes through it, which I'm sure many of you must have heard. It's known as Khardungla. Khardungla is supposed to be the highest motorable road in the world, and which is located at 18,380 feet above sea level. Now, if I convert that into a meter, it's like 5.6 kilometers up there. And you know what? The Mount Everest base camp is at the same height. So if you get sick and you somehow get referred to that hospital, or you go to that hospital, then you have to cross over that mountain, or it's like, you're going to Everest base camp to get to the hospital. So it's not easy to go there, especially if somebody is sick, because if someone is sick and you try to cross over, then because of the altitude, it becomes a matter of life and death. So message here I want to convey, especially to the young physician who wants to work in rural areas, that this traditional healing system is very common throughout our country. So if you are working there, in fact, while I was preparing for this talk, I was going through the WHO website, and there what I found was that more than 80% of the world population in our 170 of WHO 194 member states currently seek support for traditional healers. So I guess it's, such system should not be surprising for you. But the advice I want to give to those aspiring young physician who wants to work in rural areas, try not to raise opposition or to this practice for three reasons. These three things I think you all need to understand very properly. Number one, I firmly believe that dismissing traditional medicine as irrational and labeling it practitioner as quacks, this was a tactic employed during the colonial era to establish superiority, influence, and dominance. And secondly, if you still try to do so, the thing is that there are religious sentiments attached with this system. So if you try to raise a voice against it, it will hurt the entire community. They hurt the sentiments of entire community. And in that case, it will be very difficult for you to work in those setup or in that particular community. So, but the important thing is that if you are working in any rural area and if you want your work to be more effective, then it's essential that you capture their heart, gain their trust, because gaining the trust of the community is the first and the foremost thing to work in such areas. So that's one reason you should not raise opposition openly against them. And also you need to understand, we all need to understand that many of these traditional customs have endured for millennia, and we may not be able to erase from their memory overnight. So the tactic which I follow in my region is that I try to, influence their priorities. What I mean by that is, if someone prefer to consult any traditional healer, I tell them that at the same time, try to, consult the doctor as well, so that you can save time. So that, oftentimes, people who are engaged in traditional healers, they come very late to hospitals. So their treatment get delayed. So this is a tactic which I follow. So similar situation unfolded with my mother when her health started deteriorating. She sought advice from oracles. She performed pujas and rituals and all sorts of things. And then her health continued to deteriorate. And so finally, she reached out to me. So at that point of time, I was serving in a Danish mission hospital in Tripoli with one of my friends. So, and I wanted to do my post-graduation, after the completion of internship. So one of my friends said, just come with me to this hospital and, together we'll prepare for the post-graduation. So I agreed to that. So, and that hospital was lying defunct for many years. So I was working there. Then one day my mother called me up and she said, she's not feeling well. Why don't you just come back? I need you. So I made the choice to return home with a promise to my friend that I will come back. And this decision was made in 2007. And when I got back home, I couldn't recognize my mother. She was bedridden. She was completely emaciated. And it was only at this point of time she disclosed to me that she had been experiencing persistent spotting and occasional abdominal pain, and that had worsened over time. So when I reached home, I transported her to Leh District, and from Leh District Hospital, she was referred to Delhi. We went to AIMS, and we were, lying in their emergency unit on their casualty for 48 hours, and after that, we got an admission in one of the ward. But same night, she passed away, and I was just standing there helpless, watching her fading away slowly. So that was one of the turning point in my life. And the women in my region always, they're still, in fact, reluctant to speak about women-related health issues. And even to their family members, if mother have some women-related issues, they will just talk to their sister, share with sister, but not with the husband or to their male members. And I think this is not just about my valley. I think it's everywhere in India. So while I was still grappling with the grief of losing my mother, another incident took place in my life. I was back at home, and I got a call from one of the principal of one of the school, and they were inquiring about a female student who had taken sick leave and never returned. So principal wanted me to find out because that girl was from Upper Valley. So I managed to gather information about her village, and so we went to that village to find out her. And as soon as I entered that village, I encountered a couple working in the field. So I inquired about the missing girl, and to my astonishment, they turned out to be the parents of the very girls I was looking for. And the mother told me that it's our child, and she's basically inside the house. You can go and meet her. So I went inside. She was lying in the kitchen. And in Ladakh, the kitchen is the living room. Kitchen is basically we use it for all purpose, basically, because it's the warmest room in our houses. So I saw a teenage girl, her head shaven, and I still remember the blanket she was wrapped in. It was green and red and green color. And I asked her, what happened to you? Then she pointed her finger toward her own knee, and she was crying. And I said, let me have a look. And I tried to remove the blanket, and she was screaming with pain. And by the time mother entered, and they told me, and she handed over me the file, and I found out that she had osteosarcoma of her, and she had, in fact, amputation of below knee. So, and tragically, her condition relapsed near the amputation site, and she's Sonam Dulma. This is time when I met her. So then I asked her parents, why don't you take her back? So her mom told me that we don't have money, and we consulted the oracle, and oracle told me that she will not recover. So there's no point taking her back to the hospital. So that's why they have, kept her at home. Then I said, look, let's believe for a moment that Oracle is right. But, do you want your daughter to suffer like this for the remaining life? And somehow I managed to convince her parents that she needs to go back to hospital. But then again, she said, then we don't have money now, what to do? So I said, look, I will take care of your expenses, but you prepare to go back. So 2 days down the line, we took her back to Delhi and we started the treatment. So that picture is taken while she was admitted in Delhi. And she was recovering, she was doing well. She had disarticulation of her this hip, and we bought a prosthesis for her. So just a few days before her discharge, she never woke up. So these two incidents, shift my entire, line of career. And then I decided, I will not go back to do post-graduation. I will stay back. And I thought I will become an oracle, but not that traditional oracle, but more of scientific oracles. I want my people to learn about their own health, how disease can be prevented, and help in whatever way possible. So same year, a team of dental surgeons visited my valley. They visited one of our school in Nubra Valley, and they wanted a local person with a medical background to help them out. So I went there, and among this group of doctors, there was one gynecologist. Her name was is Dr. Chelliah. Then I spoke to her about my mother, and I said, it seems like there's cervical cancer is quite common here. Can you help me? She said, look, I'm carrying the portables, basically all the equipments for screening. So why don't you get all the women's, we are staying here for 1 week, we will do the screening. I was so happy. So I went from villages to villages and asking women to come for screening. But unfortunately, over the 1 week, only 20 women turned up. And those 20 women have some acute issues, and none of the women who were perfectly fine, nobody came for screening. So then I realized my women need to know about cervical cancer. They need to be motivated. They need to be encouraged. So that same winter, me and my friend, Dawa, who is sitting here with me, so we both of us decided that let's go to villages and let's conduct awareness campaign in villages, and also we visited almost all the villages that winter. But just that very few women turned up initially, and I'll show you some of the pictures. This is one of the village initially when I started visiting villages, and this village is called Digger Villages, which is at 16,000 feet above sea level. That is around 4.6 kilometers up there. So this is another picture, another village. There's another village like this. So we visited all these villages, and then we call back, we communicate with the Singaporean doctors, and we told them, can you come back to help us? And they said, we will definitely come, but you need to get women, because we come all the way to Ladakh, and then we will find nobody coming, then it will be the wastage of resources and time. So we told them, look, we'll take care of your transportations and lodgings and other logistic thing, and all you need to do is just come here, and we will get the women's as well. So following year, when we conducted the mass screening, 2,000 women turned up. From 20 women to 2,000 women, we were so enthralled. In fact, we had to send many of them back to home because we couldn't finish in this duration. So I'll show you some of the pictures. So this one is the initial pictures. So all women turned up, and so. And these are the pictures which we have taken later in other years. So the lesson which we can learn from this experience is that the education or health awareness play a very significant roles. The transformation of knowledge, education, and information influence the rightful request for and adherence to healthcare service. It shapes health belief, perception of health illness, health-seeking behavior, and adherence to treatment. So oftentimes we as a doctor, we tend to overlook this vital aspect. So we continued our effort to raise awareness about cervical cancer in Nubra Valley. And at the same time, while we were conducting the first mass screening, we trained some of the A&M workers in Nubra Valley. We trained them to basically take pap smear, to collect pap smear. So what we did, we started while this Singaporean doctors gone back to home, we continued our screening program, and this A&M will collect pap smear, which we will send it to Leh, because we, at that point of time, we had one pathologist in whole of Ladakh. And she had constraint of time, and she was charging a lot. So we find that it's not so cost effective. So at that point of time, I wrote to Dr. Anand Zekrai saying that I need some sort of training in pap smear. And so Dr. Anand Zekrai, he wrote to St. John Hospital in Delhi, and St. Stephen. And there I got the 3-week intensive course. And so I was trained enough to basically differentiate the abnormal cells and normal cells. And so I bought a microscope and all chemical reagent needed for that, and came back home and started a small laboratory in my own house. And then throughout the year, we kept screening, and we made the list of women with abnormal pathology to be treated during our next mass screening program, this cervical cancer screening camp. So this is the system we created. And now women with the advanced lesion, what to do with them? So, and they had no money to basically go to Delhi, because in Ladakh, the problem is that, even for a very a minor problem, oftentimes you have to fly all the way to Delhi to get the treatment. So we try to raise fund for women who had advanced pathology. And oftentimes we accompanied them to Delhi and get them treated there and bring them back home. And the number of women who were like now basically coming to our screening now, which really encouraged us. And now we thought, how about transforming the entire Ladakh into a cervical cancer-free region? That can be possible, But then we recognize the two essential requirements. Firstly, the expansions of this awareness program to rest of Ladakh, and then also to introduce vaccination in my region. So as a result, we initiated mass screening in Leh town and broadened our awareness campaign. And this is the now awareness program in beyond Nubra Valley in other part of the Ladakh. And a lot of people started turning up for our awareness campaigns. And similarly, now we started conducting this mass screening in Leh town itself. And so far, I've been able to screen around more than around 12,600 women. And now for vaccination, we spoke to GSK company for the vaccination, and they readily agreed. The thing is that Ladakh being at such a high altitude, whenever you approach to any company or anyone for a help, they readily agreed upon it, because whatever you do in Ladakh, it becomes highest. If you have a petrol pump, highest petrol pump. If you have a toilet, highest toilet, So I probably GSK people thought that, this would be very good for promotional purpose. And so we went back and we talked to the health department, and we said, look, GSK is willing to give us free vaccination for next 10 years. Let's work together. But unfortunately, the drug inspector, he came out with a document, which was like somebody, while this vaccination was introduced in India, there was one study was done, PATH study is called. At that point of time, while this vaccination study, effective study was being done in India, I think 7 women died, and they were not related with this vaccine. They died of other causes. I think one died of snake bite, two of opiate poisoning, likewise. But somebody filed an PIL in Supreme Court. So that case was lying in the Supreme Court. So the drug inspector said, look, we cannot let you introduce this vaccination in Ladakh. It's unsafe. So we couldn't get it. And just 1 year ago, that drug inspector got retired. Only then I able to get the vaccination, but the GST was now not billing, So I have to get it, and now I'm basically providing on a subsidized rate to the women who are willing to get the vaccinated. So outcome of my cervical cancer project was that now cervical cancer screening is being performed at all community centers and district healthcare center, and this is now government has taken up. And at the point of time, like back in 2009, nobody was talking about cervical cancer. Nobody had any idea. There was no screening being done at any of the government hospitals. And last year also, now health department initiated a training for A&M in visual inspection of acetic acid screening. That's also initiated so that they can screen at village level as well. And thirdly, there are more and more women now turning up for vaccinations. So these are some of the outcome of my screening program so far. But then it's still an ongoing process. I haven't achieved my dream of converting the whole Ladakh into a cervical cancer-free region. So next year, we have a mass screening program in Zanskar Valley, which is one of the most beautiful valleys. So if any one of you would like to join, you're most welcome. So the method which I followed, if in my cervical cancer project, was like first to identify the issue, then promoting awareness and education, then conducting research, and then mobilizing the community, and advocating for change in policy. This is a kind of method which I used. And if you just scroll through the website of this ongoing conference, you will see that pictogram. I think this is, this is like, I think you will able to understand this more clearly, the method through the method which I follow. However, while I was visiting all these villages for awareness program and all, and I realized one thing that, in fact, I got to interact with a lot of people there, and the way they are living the life, they're able to witness their lifestyle. So I realized that to achieve health equity, there are many social, economic, and environmental factors that influence the health. So many of those factors are beyond the jurisdiction of healthcare sector, and we all know now that those are called social determinants. So traditionally, we look at the healthcare system as a key driver of health and health outcomes. However, to improve health and to achieve health equity, we require broader approaches that address social determinants as well. Therefore, the authority and responsibility of improving health are also widely dispersed to individual and organization at all levels, and beyond all sectors, across all sectors, beyond healthcare sectors. For example, for instance, providing drinking water. Now, we doctor cannot do that. That's not our job. But if you look in the government system, there's a department called public health engineering. They are supposed to deliver or give drinking water facilities to all the people. It's their job. Now, like talk about my valley, many of my villages are still not connected. There's no motorable road. Now, making healthcare setup accessible or to get to that community health center from their village, and we have to build a road, and that is not our duty. There's a public work department, they are supposed to do it. Similarly, like agriculture and horticulture departments, they basically, they have major role to play, to improve the nutritional status of public. Yesterday, I was listening, we were like, I think somebody was talking about anemia. To eradicate anemia, we doctor alone cannot do it. Other sector also has to come together to, deal with that. So, the general perception of the public is that health begins in our clinic or in hospital. But in reality, health begins in your house, health begins in the womb of mother. Health begins beyond the clinic. Now, this, everyone need to understand this. So what we can do about it? Should we just wait for other non-health sector to realize it? Or should we just wait for the government or our political leader to act upon it? And if so, for how long? So these are the questions which we need to understand. Now, we celebrated 75th year of independence, which is referred as Amrit Kaul. Now, region like my valley is still facing the shortage of manpower and health facilities. And our environment is deteriorating with each passing days. Lifestyles are changing. Like, take an instance, in my valley, the most of the non-communicable disease, the lifestyle disease like diabetes or heart disease, it was like unknown like 10 years ago. But right now it's like increasing at the exponential rate, So the question is that, especially for young physicians, so what can we do as a healthcare provider to influence these social determinants of health? Can we influence it? Can we bring change in these social determinants? My answer is yes. We can contribute a lot. Even as a doctor, we can influence all these things. And we can be at forefront in this social change movement. Now, benefit of being a doctor, especially in a rural area, is that, people still respect us. People still listen to us. Whatever you say, it carries a lot of weightage. So I took advantage of being a doctor in far-flung areas like Nubra Valley. So I started many other initiatives which influence health as well. So I would like to share a few of them. In my valley, I observed that when back in 2010, while I was working on this cervical cancer project, I saw there's a surge in consumption of tobacco among the adolescents and young generations, and even school-going kids. So although at that point of time, implementation of COTPA was there, but then it was not effective. In fact, and this is again not about my valley only, but in the whole of India, whenever you travel, you see a lot of young kids, smoking and chewing tobaccos and things like that. So these products are readily accessible to everyone, So we thought, so in 2011, so I initiated another project called No Smoking Zone, where along with the Women Alliance, we have a women group at villages level. We started visiting all of the villages for the next 2 months. So educating them about the impact of, smoking on your health, your local economy. And then we also put some flavor of religious sentiment into it as well. And the outcome was that the shopkeepers and other businessmen, they all came at the end of all this campaign saying that we will not get any tobacco product in Valley. And I'll show you these are the group of women whom I have worked. So on May 10, 2011, the local government, we have a local public representative or local government in Ladakh, which is called Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council. So that local government decided that, since your shopkeepers and they are not, they have decided not to get any tobacco products. So, they wanted to take the benefit out of it. Then they said, let's, declare the entire Nubra Valley as no tobacco or tobacco-free zone. So this was declared, and our main purpose was to make this tobacco product inaccessible to school-going kids, not to do in moral policing. And it's still going very effectively. And even if you visit Nubra Valley, you will get to see that you won't find cigarettes in Nubra Valley or tobacco or any kind of tobacco product. So this is one of the success story. And then over the past 1 decade, Ladakh witnessed heavy influx of tourism. I am sure many of you must have visited. The Ladakh is slowly converting into a concrete jungle. But when I was studying here, at that point of time, we used to have only foreign tourists. And foreign tourists were there to learn our cultures and things like that, how we live and all. And they would prefer to stay with our families, stay with us, and they would like to do, follow the kind of lifestyle which we follow. And traditionally in Ladakh, our toilets are dry toilet system. We don't use water. It's not water based. Then after the Three Idiot movie, we started having a lot of domestic tourists, and they want all kind of facilities. So slowly these homestays converted into guest house and then into hotels. And now even all the agricultural lands, if you go there, you won't find cabbage or cauliflower. You will see on a concrete building coming out of it. It's completely turning into a concrete jungle. So then people started building water-based toilet system. And my people didn't have any idea about how to build a septic tank. So all they knew that, when you flush, that water goes underground. So most of the septic tanks in Ladakh it was a sock pit. So everything was just, seeping into the groundwater. So then I joined one of the environmental related organization in Ladakh. And as soon as I joined, I conduct a study whereby I collected sample from around 120 households in Laytown. And I found that 90 of the sample had E. coli in it. So then I talked to the local government. I said, this is my finding. We need to do something about it. And they said, look, we cannot do anything like instantly. We'll think about it. We'll do something about it, but they didn't do anything. So I wrote to European Union, and there's another German-based NGO called BORDA. We asked them for a financial help to build a fecal sludge treatment plant in Laytown. So, and they agreed again, because again, same logic, it's the highest, place. It will become the highest FSTP in Ladakh, a whole of world, in fact. So this is the FST plant which I built. And this is the first FSTP plant. And in fact, like I said, the highest FSTP in the world. And I bought this machine. It's a suction truck, but we don't call it suction truck. We call it honeysucker. And the quote which I've written there is not inspired from the Winston Churchill, but then again, it sounds same. Happiness doesn't come from what we get, but from what we give. Give us your shit and be happy. And on the other side, you will say, give us your shit, be happy, satisfaction guaranteed. So then the local government again said, okay, since you have got all this, you have built this, let's work together. I said, okay, fine, let's work together, So what we did was we laid the rule for all the hotels that you have to basically convert your the soak pit into a proper septic tank. And until you do that, you have to empty your septic tank twice a year, which we would suck from with the help of this machine and take it to this treatment plant. So, which was implemented by local government, the municipal committee of Leh, and now government is trying to replicate the same thing in other touristy places in Ladakh as well. And now, agriculture is the main occupation of most resident of Ladakh. In fact, for centuries, we have been dependent upon farming and herding. And our farming method is organic by default. But, after Green Revolution in India in the 60s, the government started providing chemical fertilizer on subsidy. And it reached Ladakh only in 90s, because by that time the road were, the better enough for truck to ply in. And so in Ladakh, chemical fertilizer was introduced, and they were providing it on subsidy rates. But then government, they totally ignored the impact of those chemical fertilizer on environment or on our health. So the organization which I joined, so we started spreading awareness about the impact of this chemical fertilizer on one's health. And then we basically visited almost all the villages in Ladakh. And we declare few villages, like around 10 villages, as certified organic village. And in Nubra Valley, this is the awareness program on organic thing. And this is in Nubra Valley is one of the village called Charasa. This was the first village in Nubra Valley to become a certified organic village. And when the when the local government saw that, now people are really, enjoying this, and they thought, why not take benefit out of it? And then they finally agreed to convert the entire Ladakh into an organic state. So right now the government is basically working along with Sikkim government, and they have, in fact, uh, they have announced that by 2024, Ladakh will be the second organic state in our country. Now, like I said, main source of income in Ladakh is agriculture. Even I remember my expenses of my educations were the income generated from farmings and other agriculture work. In fact, my mother, back in 2003, she won a best farmer award in whole of India. So all families in Ladakh owns farming lands. Everyone owns all kind of yaks and donkeys and cows and things like that. But since the heavy influx of tourism in Ladakh, the people started shifting from agro-based economy to the tourism business. So the lifestyle also changed. Otherwise, earlier, from small kid to the grandmother, everyone will be in the field throughout the day. And now what has happening is that all the people are involved in the tourism business. So lifestyle has become more of sedentary. And especially in winter when everything, comes to standstill, schools are closed for 4 months. And so everybody, tend to stay inside, playing with their mobile. So in my valley, we thought, let's try out something to bring out these kids outdoor and let them do some physical activity. So I started few activities, especially in winter. And one of the activities is this, ice climbing. So like I said, in Ladakh in winter, everything freezes. Even the waterfall freezes. The rivers are frozen. So we took advantage of that, and I started conducting workshops for, especially for women's young kids we started imparting them basic ice climbing training. And so far, like I've conducted around 8 workshops, and we have trained more than 350 youths. And now these were like youths who were like in higher secondary schools or in colleges. And what to do with the young kids who are going in primary schools and all. So we conducted ice skating programs for them. So in Nubra Valley, again, during winters, so all the younger kids will be brought out, and we train them how to basically use this ice skating. We got these ice skatings from, got it as a donation from various countries. And so far, I've been able to conduct around 12 workshops and train around 530 kids. And it's an ongoing process. If any of you wants to visit in Ladakh, I will take you there. Maybe I will teach you all as well. So the traditional sport in Ladakh is archery. Archery is something, which is being played at all the villages level. But unfortunately, women are not allowed to touch the arrow, because local belief is that if a women touch the arrow, it will bring bad lucks. It's not auspicious. So we spoke to the village elderlies, and we told them, let us allow women to, engage in archery as well. And they were like, no, we cannot do that because it's a tradition for centuries, and it will bring bad lucks and so and so. I said, look, what if I get all the modern archery equipment, not the traditional archery one? Then they said, okay, in that case, not a problem, because all the equipments are coming from out, so you can do that. I said, okay, then if that is so, then I will teach all the women, how to do archery as well. So we started training in my valley. I started training women's in archery as well. And so this was like first of its kind in whole of Ladakh. And in fact, this was like, it was covered by various newspaper as well. So far I've been able to train around 250 young women. And you won't believe, 2 of these women whom I trained, they in fact represented UT Ladakh to play at national level as well. So it's again going on, and it's an ongoing process. And so again, when the local government saw that, a lot of sport activities are happening, there were a lot of the participations were really good. And they said, look, we will work together, you know, we can help you, you can help us. I said, okay, no problem, we can do that. So they said, we will fund you, and you conduct a sport event on a large scale where not only this few games, but many other you can introduce into it. I said, that's a good idea. We'll do it. In fact, it will really encourage these young kids to, have a huge cup and, prize money and all those things. So they said, then you bring us a proposal, and let's work on it. So since last year, we are organizing a, entire valley level event. It's called Nubra Sports and Adventure Festival, where we not only the archery and ice skating and climbing also, but we have polo, we have cycle race, we have marathon race, so all sorts of things. Just a few weeks ago, I completed it, and then I came here. So what I want to convey is that the majority of the initiative which I've just discussed, it falls outside the purview of healthcare provider, yet they will significant influence in attaining the high standard of health. So the point I want to emphasize here is that we doctor can also play a significant role in addressing the social determinants of health, provided that we have a strong commitment to change in the immediate society where we live or where we work. So again, to attain equity in health, everyone, each one of us, I'm talking about we doctor, each one of us has to contribute at our own level, no matter how insignificant it may be. So I do understand one person alone cannot change the health scenario of entire nation, but transformation must begin somewhere. Mother Teresa once said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. So I want to, before I conclude my speech, I have a short video for you so that whatever I just spoke, I think to visualize it more clearly, I prepared a short video to show. So I'll just play that. My valley. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nordan. Very, very impressive. I think Mother Teresa is wrong. You can change the world alone. The smiles of those beautiful people, just enchanting. And you've done a great job. I'm sure the college will be proud of you. And Dr. Idaskara will be proud of you. Any questions? I have not received. And you can ask directly, I think, questions.
Yes, please.
Dr. Nordan, thanks for your fascinating presentation. I was listening quite silently. I mean, I was thoroughly spellbound. Now, my comment has less to do with your presentation and more to the quote you have started with. You seem to be pretty inspired by Winston Churchill and what he has given, what he gave to Bengal in 1943 was the Bengal famine, due to which almost 3 million people died. And that was simply due to the British policy, racial British policy taken at that time. And they died due to poverty, lack of food, malnutrition, and health services, So I wouldn't have raised this if it was not a conference on equity, but I don't know if Churchill ever believed in that. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Truly fascinated by all the work that you've managed to do, sir. One quick question. I wanted to know that the center that you're currently running there, I wanted to know how much of infrastructure and manpower you have at present.
So, as you all know that right now Ladakh is separated from Jammu and Kashmir. Now we have become a union territory. So things are improving there. So earlier the politics were more of valley centric and all the fund, I mean, in fact, hardly any fund used to reach Ladakh. So after formation of UT, a lot of developmental works are happening, the healthcare centers and infrastructure wise, things are improving a lot. So now it's getting better. Yes.
Hello. Any questions?
Yeah, just wanted to ask you, what was your relationship with the oracle and did you become an oracle?
My oracle is with me. That gentleman who came along with me, he's my oracle. He's the person who's always with all this initiative. He's all the time. He's all along. So that's why I brought him here. In fact, so.
How do you deal with them?
Yes. Tibetan doctors have been taking care of my people for centuries, and they are still practicing. And their what they believe is that if anybody gets sick, it's because of 4 reasons. First thing is because of diet, then lifestyle, and then some of the diseases are seasonal, and then last was because of the mentally health issues. So these are the 4 causes they think for any kind of diseases. And secondly, they also believe it's more of like your Ayurvedic system, where they believe that our body is comprised of 5 elements. So is the environment around, the world around. So this has to be in balance. So this has to be in balance. The moment there's an imbalance, you get sick. So then also, if we look back at what we believe, right currently like 95% of the disease is caused by either because of diet or lifestyle or because of the environment. So, if you look, from different angles, it looks like, things are fitting well into it, So, but then not many people right now are consulting the Tibetan medicine. Now the allopathy is picking up in Ladakh. Yes, ma'am.
வணக்கம் அனைவருக்கும். நான் சொல்றத கொஞ்சம் தயவு செய்து அவருக்கு ஆங்கிலத்தில் மொழிபெயர்த்து சொல்லுமாறு கேட்டுக்கிறேன். இவர் பேசின பேச்சு முதல்ல ஆடியோவும் வீடியோவும் எல்லா மொழியிலும் வெளியிடணும்னு நான் கேட்டுக்கிறேன். அடுத்தது இந்த யூடியூப்னு சொல்கிறாங்களே அதில் இதை போடணும். உண்மையில சினிமா என்ன, இதுதான் உண்மையான சினிமா. அப்புறம் இவருடைய இது ஒரு புத்தகமாகவும் வரணும்னு நான் கேட்டுக்கிறேன். அதுவும் எல்லா மொழியிலையும் வரணும்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். இதுதான் எனக்கு தோணுது. அவர் சொன்னதை என்னால் முழுசாக கூட புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியல. நிறைய நீங்கள் சிரிச்சதெல்லாம் கூட என்னால் சிரிக்க முடியல. ஏன்னா என்னால் அந்த அளவுக்கு புரிஞ்சிக்க முடியல. ஆனால் புரிஞ்சுக்கினதே எனக்கு பெரிய ஆச்சரியமாக இருக்குது. வரலாறுல நம்ம இப்போ சொல்லலாம், அவர்கள் இப்படி செய்தார்கள், மறுமலர்ச்சியை உண்டாக்கினார்கள், அதெல்லாம். இந்த காலத்தில், இந்த சூழ்நிலையில், இந்த அரசியல் காலத்தில் கூட செய்ய முடியும் என்பதை இவர் செய்து காட்டிருக்கிறார். இதை நீங்க கொஞ்சம் ஆங்கிலத்தில் மொழிபெயர்த்த நன்றாக இருக்கும். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
எனக்கு நல்ல தமிழ் பேசுறோம் தெரியும். எனக்கு நல்ல தமிழ் பேசுற முடியாதா, பட் கொஞ்சம் தான் தமிழ் தெரியும். So I understood, more or less. Yes, you have told me that.
So you have understood. What he said was that
Put it on duty.
just shows how one person can do so much. He has proved it personally, and it should be put in YouTube, and it should be in a cinema also, I think. Yes, translated in many languages.
Yes.
So all of us can. Yes.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for such an inspiring presentation. I'm Dr. Ved Kumar. I'm working in the rural hospital in Chhattisgarh. As the same question were asked by two of our members, that about oracles and the traditional healers of our country, they are everywhere. Like in Chhattisgarh also, they are called Baiga. Sometimes what happens, these traditional healers come in a way between the allopathy and the patients, and sometimes it costs patients their life, or it worsens their condition also, like you said in your experience also. So I wanted to ask you, how can we use them, because as you said, they are taking care of our community from centuries. So how can we use their contacts, their trust, the people's trust on them, and their knowledge of the culture and people? How can we use them, and we can build a better health system with the help of them? Not like we are opposing them, but we can also use them. And how can this happen? And instead of they becoming an obstacle between the allopathy or modern medicine and people, how can they facilitate us, and how can we take their help?
So the tactic which I use, like I also mentioned in my presentation, is that, you do not oppose them directly, but try to convince your own community or people that, try out the other options as well while you're, consulting the oracles and all this. So that is the tactic which I use. And other thing which I've learned over the time is that, wherever you're working, avoid, discussing about the politics and the religious matters, So do not come in front to oppose or speak about it. Just keep it, at bay, and don't let people to know your affiliation, because in our country, that is a big obstacle. The moment the people come to know that you belong to this political party, you're affiliated or associated with this party or this, that, then, a lot of obstacle comes in your way. So I'll tell you on a recent incident. One patient came to see me, and I was out of Ladakh. So she waited for around 1 week to see me. And when I reached back, I said, why did you wait for so long? You could have, consulted other doctors in the nearby hospital. And she said, I went to an oracle, and that oracle said, you will be healed only by consulting Dr. Nordan. He specifically said. So Oracle is also happy, so Oracle in that way is helping us, So I think that kind of approach, bring them, to your side. So that's the way I feel. So yes.
Sometimes they'll bring their relatives also. Make full use of it. You treat them, and after they'll send you patients.
Hi, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask you, as a male doctor, how difficult was it to go around talk about cervical cancer with women? Did you face any resistance?
Well, see, the situation is same as anywhere else in whole of our country, Moment a male doctor comes to speak about women issues, initially, they will just, they will not have eye to eye contacts. They will shy. But then, when you continue, they realize that, this is a person who is really taking, concern about it. And then, then all this taboo and taste and other things, doesn't matter much, So you have to win their confidence, win their trust. If you do that, then, this doesn't become, that no longer remains an obstacle for you. Yes.
A personal tragedy in his life, and he converted it to such a big project. That's a lesson for all of us. So many lives are saved. Thanks to Dr. Nordan.
Thank you.
Anyone? Oh, I think. One last question. I saw those beautiful horses. Are they yours?
Beautiful houses?
Horses.
Horse? No.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Nordan.
sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.